So this video is about dependent care expense. We have this planning file where we do our tax planning, and we have a bunch of credits we go through with our clients, and we give this to client. This is one of the credits that's confusing and have a lot of questions, so I'm making this quick video for everyone. So what is dependent care credit? Again, you can pause and watch this writing. I'm not going to go through all of this, but let me give you a very high level overview. If you have a dependent, which can be your kid less than 13 years old, or even your spouses who are disabled, or sometimes parents, dependents. Okay, there's another definition for dependents. Those qualify. So if you have a one or more qualifying kid, and you incur expenses to take care of them, so you can go to work, you just don't get credit. You have the expenses needs to be incurred if you spend the money, so you can go to work or look for the work. Okay, so that is very important point to remember. And the third point is you or your spouse, if you're married, needs to have at least the amount of expense you're claiming as a credit. You need to have that as an earned income. Meaning, let's say you're married, your spouse stays home, and you spend a lot of money in dependent care, you do not qualify for the credit. Your spouse also needs to have a job or needs to be looking for the job. Okay, you need to prove that, because the rule takes a lower of two of your income. If you make $100,000 and your spouse makes no money, it doesn't really matter. You make $100,000, she makes $6,000, then $6,000 is looked for the credit. And the maximum amount of credit you get for more than two people, the expense you can claim is $6,000. So at least both of you need to have $6,000 if you want to claim the full credit. Again, credit is not $6,000. Okay, we'll go through that. It's the expense you can claim from credit is $6,000 if you have two or more qualifying individual. So both of you need to have earned income. Now let's go to the credit and what kind of expenses qualify, because that's the biggest question. First of all, credit is if you have one qualifying individual, it's $3,000. Expense, if one or more qualifying individual, is $6,000. That's expense you can claim credit. How much can you claim? Most of the people will fall in this bucket. If you have an AGI, adjusted gross income, in your tax return, more than $43,000, it is 20% of the expense. So it's 20% of $3,000 if you have one kid, let's say. That's around $1,200, right? So that's the maximum amount of credit. If you maximize your credit, that's $2,400. So for you to get that credit, the maximum expense is $6,000 if you have one or more qualifying individual, but both of you need to work. Both spouses need to work. If you're not married, then you're done. You're fine, right? So what kind of expenses qualify? Let's go through this. Again, I put this in here. You can read through this as well, but it's all the daycare centers, nannies, if you hire a nanny for your kid, nursery schools, they qualify. What doesn't qualify is sleepaway camp. Do not qualify. Kindergarten, all the kindergartens do not qualify either, because it's for education. Remember, the cost is for the well-being and protection of a kid while you're looking for a job, not for their education. So cost of kindergarten do not qualify. So it says here, the cost of camps before and after schools qualify for the credit though. Okay, not an overnight camp, but the before and after, if that's for you to go and do your job, then you need extra time to go pick them up. Then if they're there, then they qualify. So overnight camps, summer camps don't qualify. You need to understand that. But there's a rule that, in contrast, what happens is if you pay for the day camp, even though it's not, it's for soccer or computers, they also qualify. It's not overnight. Okay, so make sure you understand that. Remember, we need to understand this. Again, I'm repeating this. It needs to be employment-related expenses for the well-being of your kids and protection for your kids. So if you're hiring a housekeeper, maid, nanny to cook while you're working, you're either self-employed, then those qualify. Again, you do have to have earned income, like I said before, but they do qualify. Payment for the service outside of the household. Remember, you can hire a cook inside, but if you pay someone outside, let's say, again, daycare, kid has to be less than 13 years old, or if it's other individuals, your parents and stuff sometimes, then they need to spend at least 8 hours with you in your house. Basically, they need to be a dependent. Don't worry about this rule. They need to be a dependent for them to qualify. That's what this is. The credit is not available if for the full institutional care, if the dependent is not under 13 years old. If 14-year-old, 15-year-old, they don't qualify for the full institutional care and outside of the house. So those are the things. Now, few other pointers is this. Who cannot qualify? If you hire your own dependent, you hire your other children or your parents, then they do not qualify. The expenses you pay them to take care of your other kids do not qualify. You need to understand that, okay? You need to request for SSN and tax identification numbers from your provider. You need to put that in your tax return to claim the deduction. So whenever you're hiring nannies and stuff, make sure you're paying them 1099 or W2 or however you want to hire them. If you're paying outside, they will give you some kind of letter with their EIN, their address, how much you paid. so you can give this to your tax professional. So I just wanted you guys to understand how the dependent care expense works. We need to really understand which expenses qualify and which expenses do not qualify, and the age and everything. So hopefully that makes sense. Again, please reach out if you have any questions. Thank you.